Have you ever had one of those nights where you're surrounded by people all day? Your phone never stops buzzing, you reply to messages, you laugh at reels, you react to stories, and yet when your head finally hits the pillow, you feel completely alone. Not physically alone. The other kind. The kind that sits quietly in your chest. The kind nobody notices. Somewhere out there was a young man. And from the outside, his life looked perfectly fine. His Instagram was full of coffee shops and sunsets. His stories always looked interesting. His phone was always lighting up. Messages, notifications, likes, comments. The world could see him, but nobody really knew him. Every night, at exactly 11:47, he would place his phone on his chest, stare at the ceiling, and ask himself the same question. A question he never told anyone. If I disappeared tomorrow, who would actually notice?
One night, he opened his contacts. 1,284 people. He stared at the number. And then he laughed. Not because it was funny, because it hurt. Because in that moment he realized there wasn't a single person he felt comfortable calling and saying, "I'm not okay." Not one. And that's what confused him the most. Because he wasn't alone. Every day he talked to people. He sent memes, shared reels, reacted to stories, commented on posts. But somehow, his heart felt emptier than ever. It felt like standing in the middle of a crowded city while stranded on an island.
Then one evening, something unusual happened. His internet stopped working. No Wi-Fi, no mobile data, nothing. At first, he was annoyed, then restless, then uncomfortable, and finally, silent. Because for the first time in years, there was no endless scrolling. No videos, no notifications, no distractions. Only him and the thoughts he'd been running from.
The loneliness, the fear, the exhaustion, the feeling that maybe nobody truly knew who he was. The next morning, with nothing else to do, he went to a nearby park. And there, he noticed an old man feeding birds. The old man looked peaceful. Not social media happy, not fake happy, just peaceful. The kind of peace that doesn't need to be posted online. After a while, the old man looked at him and smiled. "Bad day?" The young man shrugged. "Nah, just bored." The old man chuckled. "No, bored people don't look sad." For some reason, that sentence hit harder than anything he'd heard online. Because it was true. He wasn't bored. He was lonely.
The old man sat beside him. "You know, when I was young, we were lonely too." The young man looked surprised. "But you didn't even have phones." The old man smiled. "Exactly. We were lonely because nobody was around. He pointed toward the phone in the young man's hand. But your generation is lonely because everybody is around. You have mastered communication, but forgotten connection.
Communication is sending a message. Connection is feeling understood. Communication is reacting with a heart. Connection is staying when someone is struggling. Communication is seeing someone's story. Connection is knowing their story. A few days later, the young man did something simple. Instead of posting a story, he sent a message. A real message. Hey, how are you, actually? 20 minutes later, the reply came. Honestly? Not great. They talked for 3 hours about fears, family, dreams, things they never posted online, things hidden behind smiles and filters. And when the conversation ended, the young man noticed something. For the first time in months, he felt lighter. So, he did it again. And again. And again. He started calling instead of reacting, meeting instead of scrolling, listening instead of performing. Slowly, his world became smaller, but richer. Years later, he barely remembered the posts he uploaded, the reels he watched, the trends he followed. But he remembered the conversations, the late-night calls, the people who stayed, the people who showed up when life became heavy. Because one day, he learned something no algorithm could ever teach. Being seen by thousands is not the same as being known by one. Maybe that's the tragedy of our generation. We have never had more ways to reach each other, yet so many people feel invisible. We charge our phones every night, but forget to charge our relationships. We collect followers and lose friendships. We share our lives with everyone, and our hearts with no one. So, if you're listening to this right now, and you've been feeling lonely lately, remember this. You probably don't need another notification. You probably don't need more followers. Maybe you just need one real conversation. One honest friend. One person with whom you can stop pretending. One person with whom you can finally say, "This is who I really am." Because at the end of your life, you won't remember how many people watched your stories. You'll remember who stayed when your story became difficult. And sometimes, one real connection can do what 1,000 notifications never could.